Hey, worship leader, welcome back to the channel. Today I have with me again, Mr. Ryan Dahl from PraiseCharts.com. How you doing?
So good to be here. Love that. Love your studio. It's like two guys in two studios. We're having fun together.
Yeah, that's right. And they missed it, but we got to do a little tour of each, and they'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for that. But last time you were on the channel, we had never met each other in person, but since then we both went to the Worship Innovators Conference, and you got to lead worship there. And that was just a real special time. It was good to get to meet you.
That was like the most amazing church to lead worship in. I felt like I was in a spaceship in some ways, but it was a very practical spaceship. Just the lighting, just the way it's surrounded and made us all feel very intimate, even though there was a lot of people there. So that's super cool.
It was a real special time. So are you going back this next year?
Oh, yeah, I am definitely. I'm in the core of that whole Worship Innovators movement. So love being a part of that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I don't have plane tickets yet, but we'll see. We'll see if I can get back up there this year, depending on how the schedule goes. But I want to have you on the channel again. And you have a lot of wisdom, and now I know that you lead worship. And when you do, it was very authentic. And I just wanted to personally, it just meant a lot to see you and the other leaders in that group. You know, several other guys who were there. They can go look at the lineup, but all of y'all, or many of y'all, had a chance to actually lead us in worship. And it wasn't like a concert; it was just like real genuine, and I love it. So. I want to have you on the channel, and I love these kind of conversations because I think it can be helpful for worship leaders coming up. But I want to start off with a hot take, okay? You know, just maybe a strong opinion. What do you see happening right now in young worship leaders, or that young worship leaders are doing that they need to stop immediately?
Okay. Oh, and you want something controversial, right?
Yeah, a hot take has to be controversial.
I don't know. I definitely got some opinions as we move through this little dialogue here. But the thing that I thought of is we are living in an age where there's so much information, so much opportunity, so many new songs, new sounds, new albums, new flashing lights everywhere. And I was just thinking it must be so tempting as a young worship leader to just be constantly chasing something that is outside of themselves that they want to be like. And even just exactly what you said about how you appreciated when I led worship and others at Worship Innovators. And there was this kind of sense of authenticity, or that was very, very intentional, that we wanted to bring to the stage like our human spirit, you know, and not to come and try to be the next Phil Wickham or Brian Johnson or Elevation, and we were singing all their songs. But that is the great challenge that we have, is how can you take some of these great songs that are being written, but still find who you are, and just be recognizing and conscious of the fact that it's so easy. You could just come to the stage, you plug in that multi-track, you've got Phil Wickham's guitar player, bass player, drummer, everything. It's like a big karaoke show, and you know, and there's something in us that it's like, who are you? Who is the authentic Ryan Dahl, who's not a famous worship leader, but what does he look like when he's on stage? How does he connect with people? So I thought a lot about that at Worship Innovators. I intentionally wanted to strip down all those instruments. I said, let's just have piano, a couple of acoustic guitars. Let's show people that you don't need a famous face and a big, fat, wide band to pull off a really meaningful worship time. And it was really special.
Yeah, I think that's really good, because I think if we're speaking to younger worship leaders, you're perhaps older than me. I don't know, probably about the same age.
I'm 53, so there you go.
53, okay. I'm almost 40. I'll be 40 in December. Okay, so I'm almost there. But you know, I was talking to my father-in-law not long ago, who's older than me, and he was talking about seasons of life and how, you know, like when you're in your 20s, you're just trying to figure out who you are. Yeah. And, you know, maybe if you're in your 30s, you're like, you may know who you are, but you're still trying to prove yourself. And he said on in his 40s, like, okay, you kind of know who you are, and you start enjoying that. And it's just the different seasons bring about these different attitudes. And so I'm thinking, you know, I got started when I was in my 20s, and you're just trying to figure out who you are. And a lot of times you can miss who you are. But one of my biggest pieces of advice that from my experience, what I know from like pastoring people through worship leading is like, they want to know you. They want to know who you are and the authenticity of you. Not that you're the star of the show, because we're pointing them to Jesus, but we can slip in the track, like you said, of using tracks and having everything that we have. And we're just singing songs, and it's a big karaoke thing, like you said, and we can miss that authenticity. And man, I think that's good. Yeah. So trying to figure out ways to not do that. Yeah. It can be difficult and look different ways.
Just like a quick example is I actually led worship at our church yesterday, and it was just me on piano and electric guitar. So we were tempted to want to bring in all the tracks and, fill out the sound, because there was just a couple instruments. And for some reason, the multi-track computer wasn't working. It was glitching. And so we're wrestling with it. As our rehearsal countdown is like ticking away, the service is going to be 45 minutes, and we're still wrestling with this dumb computer that won't play the track. And finally, I said, "Scrap it. Let's just go piano and guitar and voices." And it was like the best thing to just clear the slate of all of that and go, we could just do this with what we have authentically on the stage. And we were able to go places with the songs yesterday that we wouldn't have been able to if the track was driving us. And I mean, I'm not all against tracks. I like them, but it was an opportunity to go, wait a second, who am I, Ryan Dahl, sitting at the piano here with a couple of people who've got voices and one guitar. Let's make that sound and see where we can go, and not feel like, oh, if only the tracks were here, we would have had a great service. So it's just like a mentality to just break free from the demand of chasing something outside of ourselves. I think that's my big message, I would say.
Yeah, that's good. That's a hot take, I tell you what. And it really can be, because we're pushed so much for this, like you said, we see more things happening in front of us. We're trying to play Elevation and Bethel and Hillsong or whatnot, and they're professional. They have all the money, and it's great. But you get a smaller church, and you're trying to sing these same songs. It can be difficult, and I think the main point is we all try our best, and we can, like you said, nothing wrong with tracks, but having that, doing what you can to have that authenticity come through, even if you're using tracks, something that takes practice. It takes time. It takes time to be real, and there's little things you can do, and that's a different video. But so that leads really well, though, into my second question for you. Since you've been leading worship longer than I have, let's just pretend. What was it like earlier on in the internet years versus now, like from your experience? Because even me, I learned guitar because of the internet. Everything was there. Yeah. What it was like?
Well, I'll tell you, the core inspiration of praise charts came from me writing out songs and chords and figuring out and listening to them literally on napkins or ripped pieces of paper. And we would collect these pieces of paper and throw them in a paper bag or into a sack or something and take them to our college, group that we had. So it was such an authentic, raw, gritty kind of experience with wanting new songs, wanting that kind of freshness, wanting the acoustic guitar, those, very authentic, raw kinds of sounds, sitting in a group of 12, 14, 20 people. That was all the world that I was living in when I was in my early 20s. And personally, my favorite times were sitting down and charting out some of those songs, because I wanted other guitar players to be able to play with me. I wanted to give them something, wanted to all have the lyrics. And so it's very sort of, rudimentary as far as, well, of course you need chords and lyrics, but imagine in a day when you just couldn't go and Google a song and just have it right there. You had to wrestle for it. And so, so that was what it was like. And then going from 1998, and so here we are, Praise Church is in its 25th anniversary year right now. So in 98, only half people had email addresses even, and we didn't have Google. We had Netscape and Simpatico and Go.com and Excite. I mean, there's all these words that half of you listening probably don't even know what these things are. And they were all the internet rage that came and went in the late 90s and early 2000s until the age of Google and Facebook and, some of these more common things. But even what we have right now is going to start to fade or wrestle. I'm sure we're going to talk about some of that kind of stuff. Like the world is churning up again and reinventing itself. So
it really is. I'm excited to get into that. But I love praisecharts.com because you can get all the stuff. Like I was going to say, we're kind of in this golden age of worship leading, in that you can get anything you want. You can resource your team well. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. Like I want to lead, I want to build trust with my congregation and be authentic, but also want to be that like behind the scenes with like my team. And so Praise Charts is huge for that. But what I think is cool is like, it's Praise Charts, which I always think of like, music charts. But one of the cool things that you have is you actually have like top songs charts. I'm in the middle of actually writing in I'm building a course, like a worship blueprint course. And in that course, just the other day, I wrote, if we're building set lists, I was like, if you don't know what songs to do, you can always go to praisecharts.com and there's that little tab of top songs of like, I'm looking right now, like top 100 worship songs of all time. So just having all these different charts to go investigate and see what people are doing and see like what the church collective is deciding. Hey, these are really good songs, and you can take it from there. But I love that. What was the reason of putting that stuff up there?
Oh man, I am probably the biggest consumer of that part of Praise Charts. I love going to my own website every day and finding out. That's why we have some lists that are top songs today, or top songs this week, or top new songs this week. Those are things I used even just last week when I was preparing for Sunday, and I was thinking I need like a really great rock solid song on a particular theme. I want to know that it's like a really great solid song. So you go to Praise Charts, and it's going to let you know, obviously, what a lot of other people have been experiencing to be working in their church. And it's not just about being the most popular, but it's like, I just want a song that works, that connects well, that's got good lyrics, good theology, that has a nice melody that people can attach to. So, like we did yesterday, we did this new version of Blessed Assurance that Kane just came out with. It's like the top new song right now here in March when we're recording this of 2022. And I never would have thought of it, but I just was like, okay, we're going to try this. I'm telling you, the church just like came alive. And this is a fairly conservative community church, but we let it out. And that was just me on acoustic piano, or my piano and a guitar. And it was so fun. So,
man, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm noticing here that the top song of the day today is Thank You, Jesus, for the Blood, which I think has been out a little while, but we just did it yesterday. I just introduced it to our church yesterday, and it was amazing. So that's really cool. That's a cool resource. So to get in now to, we were talking about how technology moves so quickly. I've seen worship songs online. You're just going through Instagram or whatever, where people are using AI, like Chat GPT, to write worship songs. Where do you have any thoughts about that? Like, how's that going to impact? Are we entering a new season? What's happening?
I think we're kind of in an age of fascination with it right now. I remember just yesterday I was sitting at the table with people who had never heard of Chat GPT before, and we're talking about all like, you could do this, you could write a poem, you could write a song, and they're like, really? No way. I mean, seriously, I can't do that. And so then I went to my phone and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a worship song right now. And I showed it to them and they were like, holy crap. Oh my goodness. And then they started to feel that sense of fear and panic and wonder. And I find all of that emotional response that we are having to this world of AI to be quite fascinating, because in my nature, I tend to be an early adopter of technology. That's even part of the spirit behind Praise Charts. I love technology and I'm not afraid of it. I want to embrace it and hone it. It's like a tool. It's like a hammer or a saw or anything. You've got control. You can decide when to turn it on and turn it off, but can you control your own mind and how you control this? So like an opinion that I would have. Here's a very stark opinion for you.
Hot take right here.
Hot take. Okay, so if someone writes a worship song using AI to help them do that, or if they write it authentically from their spirit, at the end of the day, if you've got two songs side by side and both are good, does it matter where one came from and the other one? Like, is all that matters at the end of the day that it helped me write a really great song that connects, it speaks truth, it has a great melody? I'm just asking you, does it matter if a picture made, or if an AI made this beautiful picture, or if a human being spent 2 years making it? We like to think it matters, but we're entering an era where we might have to rethink that it doesn't really matter who made this. All that matters is that it's there and it's valuable and it works for my situation. So I don't know.
I have a lot of thoughts too. I haven't even done a lot of investigation on it. You think I would, but I've just been busy. But like, I think of, because I wrote a couple worship songs myself through you know, I tried to put in, I was like, let's write a song about God's sovereignty. What's it going to say?
Yeah.
Does it even know? And of course, you know, it spit some things out, and I was like, oh, that could be pretty good. Some of it was like, oh, I would definitely want to change this or that or make it feel a little better. So then at what point is it like plagiarism? Like, I'm not a student. Well, I'm taking class right now, but you know, if somebody was going to write a paper and they put it in there and like, hey, give me you know, this topic in 2,000 words, you know, like there's a lot of new questions people are going to have to start asking. And I think the real thing kind of goes back to the beginning of this discussion of being authentic. Like if we see something as a tool to use to spur ideas and see things in a new way, and what would a computer say about God's sovereignty versus what I might want to say in the moment, and mesh those two and use it, man, I think, you know, there's got to be some questions asked, but that can be good. But if you start losing your authenticity because you're relying on a computer, that's where I think, like, hey, God made you who you're supposed to be. Don't lose it there. So there's probably a lot we could say about all that, but God's called you to lead your church and not a computer. Yeah. But man, I'm staring at you through a computer that was crazy how many years ago. So we're using it.
I would just want to remind people, here's as a statement to take home, is your humanity always matters. And so doesn't matter what you're doing. We're talking to each other through a computer. Sure, we are. But it matters that you have a personality, a personhood. There's dignity and life and purpose coming through what I'm seeing right now that's totally generated by a computer. But I think we always need to remember my humanity matters, and I need to find a way to express that and not be afraid of let's use computers and technology and all of that to enhance and magnify, you know, our humanity, which is what matters. We have to rein it in. We have to control it. We have to make moral decisions about how we use it. But I don't think you need to be afraid. I think you can be excited about an incredible future ahead. That's the outlook I would carry into it anyways.
Yeah, no, I love that. I like that you said that, because, I mean, it is exciting, and it's an exciting time. And, I think that's great. So to end this conversation, maybe I was thinking like someone's listening, they're faced with all this new stuff. Maybe they're younger than both of us. What would be your biggest piece of advice for an upcoming worship leaders entering this new world?
Yeah. Well, kind of restating some of the things we were talking about, authenticity, and just the word or the phrase I'd want to say to take home is find your voice. That's something that I would say. Don't look for it in outer places, and, you know, you got to find your own voice. And so things about your voice, like what's your vocal range? What's your type of voice that God has given you? I had to work that through just this last weekend. I have a very particular vocal range, so I'm weaving songs into what fits so that I can lead authentically and comfortably and confidently, that the next person is going to, you know, do a song in a totally different key or tempo or style, or just the way I play piano is very, very characteristic to, like, someone that listens to someone playing piano. If you knew me, you could tell that's like Ryan Dahl. That's how he makes his chords, and it's constantly shifting and moving as I get better at the piano and I understand more dynamics of, chord structure and stuff like that, and learn a new chord. But I can specifically remember yesterday we were singing Good Father, which is not a complex song, but I just kind of got into this moment where I thought, I'm just like in my zone here. I'm sitting at the piano. I know this song. I know the lyrics. I know people are singing along with me. And I was kind of like almost swaying a bit, almost like, who's that guy, the blind guy that sways when he plays?
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder is just
Ray Charles.
Finding his, and Ray Charles. We love them because they have their own particular voice that they have found, and they just go after that. So I just want to encourage young worship leaders, don't first go and look for something outside of yourself. Go and look for something like inside yourself that God has given you, and work on that and hone that so that you've got something to offer the world. So
that's so great. Yep. And I would confirm that. We were talking to some creatives the other night, and it was that same kind of thing. Like God calls us believers to salvation. He calls us to be ministers of the gospel, and then we have our identity, who we are, who God made us to be. And that, I think, is what we're talking about. Like, find who that is. You don't have to be a carbon copy of Brandon Lake or, whoever else it is, Phil Wickham, which, amazing. And I want to learn from them. I'm like, oh, they did that? I could probably do that. Yeah. I could probably learn from that. And there's nothing wrong with, finding and sharpening ourselves when you see something that really works. But God made you who you're supposed to be at a given place, and our assignments might change. We may be in a church one day that doesn't have tracks. We may be in a church one day where it's tracks every week and it's multiple campuses. It's got to be right on, And so no matter what your assignment is, no matter where God has you, just know your identity in Him and be authentic. And I think that's great. It's a much needed message, and not so much a hot take there. That's just truth.
Yeah. But I have another side to that coin that I wanted to add, is an encouragement to learn and understand how music works. I am surprised how many musicians there are out there that it's like they know how to play their instrument, but they have no idea what key they're in, what chord they're playing. They don't know what a quarter note is. I don't get how people can be such incredible band musicians and not comprehend basic theory of music. So I just would say, take some time and learn how music works. If I say 1, 4, 5, 6, and you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go and figure that out, right? And then what about a 6 minor 7, flat 9, or just like that? You should not be intimidated by things like, let's take the tempo out. What's the BPM? These are all these language things that we throw out, or reading a piece of sheet music. You shouldn't be intimidated by, if you're going to be in the ministry of music and worship, it doesn't take that much energy. But I have a little bit of a beef with people who are like, yeah, whatever. I just just hear it, and there's so much more to be gained from comprehending the beauty in behind the structure of how music works, and it's worth pursuing.
Yeah, that's really good. That's good. So we've talked about technology. This is just getting real personal. Are you on Be Real?
Yeah.
Well, it just went off, so I'm going to do mine live right here on the and I'm going to put you up there. So here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Here we are. I'm being very real.
Being very real
through this computer.
Love it. Love it. I'll have to follow you.
Yes, come follow me. It's just Hey Worship Leader. I didn't even do my name. It's just Hey Worship. All right. Well, thank you for coming on here again, and I'm sure we'll do it in the future. It's always a blessing. Y'all who are watching this, viewers, go check out Praise Charts. If you've never heard of them, I don't know how you wouldn't have, but if you haven't, go check it out. Also subscribe to this video, and like the video, subscribe to the channel for more good content like this. And Ryan, we'll see you next time.
All right. Look forward to it.
All right, man. See ya.
Right on.